I did enjoy for the most part. There's some really great episodes that blew my mind. The visuals are absolutely spectacular. Hey everyone, welcome back to Candid Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be reviewing the new Netflix series, The Sandman. Yes, the very Sandman that Neil Gaiman wrote with all those comics, and he's very talented. This season, because there is definitely going to be a season 2. How many storylines that stem from this first season? It's absolutely impossible that there won't be a season 2, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The thing with Neil Gaiman, and the only comic book that I have read from Neil Gaiman was the Eternals run, and it's just very dense. His work is very dense. It's very layered. You have to really read between the lines. You have to pay attention and grasp all of these characters and their interactions and why they're important. The thing with Gaiman is that he just looks at the fantastical in a very human way, very humanistic values all throughout his work. And I think that that's what makes the Sandman so interesting to watch. Now, there are plenty of characters that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. It was really hard to grasp certain storylines, but I think that with a bit more polish on the screenplay, on the teleplay for season 2, I think they're able to really expand this universe. There was incredible world building in this first season. You really get a feel of who these characters are, the main characters. And I think that it could have benefited from 13 episodes instead of 10 episodes. The Netflix model, they don't have a really, clear-cut structure, episodic structure for their shows. So I do think that it would have benefited them in a way that they could have prolonged and kind of extended the storyline, just because the first half of this season, without spoiling, no spoilers, the first half of this season really locks in on the Dreamland and Dream himself, played by Tom Sturridge. I thought he did a great job. I just think that it was so fast paced in trying to kind of assemble everything and kind of, just explain every little aspect of this world. And at the end of the day, it's only like one realm essentially with Dream, which is a fascinating way to look at things. You have Dream, you have Desire, you have Death, you have Hell, you have Lucifer. Gwendolyn Christie is absolutely fantastic in the show. You don't see enough of her, unfortunately, but the scenes that she was in, she absolutely stole that spotlight. I want to see more of her. I think Gwendolyn Christie really stole the spotlight in that case. I thought she was fantastic as Lucifer Morningstar. I really loved her. The other thing about this is that we're diving into these different realms. We're going to Earth. We're seeing humans and how they respond to certain aspects of the dream world. We kind of see that crossover, which is really fascinating too. And then you're looking at, basic human principles and values and morals and all of that, and how that kind of twists into these these fantastical elements, Dream and Desire and Death. And we really just have a grounded look at all of these things. Again, these very human values, these human ideologies that, are expressed in every single episode. And these characters from different realms kind of come in and twist it upside down and show a completely different perspective. And I think, again, that comes down to Gaiman and, David S. Goyer also co-wrote this. It's just very dense. It's very heavy. And the more I think about the Sandman, it's not like an impressive first watch. You really have to sit with it, I think, and appreciate it from afar and kind of let all of these episodes sink in as a whole, because there's so much that happens. And I think that they covered like one section of the story in the first half of this series, and then it kind of like slowed down a bit, trying to find like different things to focus on. And then they find a different thing to focus on. And the second half really picks up again. So it feels like they jumped from one story to another, and that's fine in one season, but it's one season, and have it really like drag out and do like an 8 episodes, but then also have like season 2 or like a volume to, kind of like what Stranger Things did, and kind of split it up so it doesn't feel like it's rushed or like messy at the same time, because they're trying to like tie up loose ends and then trying to set up like the second season, which, you know, really made me happy, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. But it's just really heavy-handed. That doesn't mean like I didn't like it. I did enjoy it for the most part. There's some really great episodes that blew my mind. The visuals are absolutely spectacular. Brilliant, you know, the VFX, the production design, just freaking beautiful imagery. That's what really took me. I think the VFX was really strong, and I was surprised at that. Again, like Netflix, it depends on what project it is. And I think that they really put so much into the Sandman. This could be, again, the next big, you know, franchise that they have, you know, because that's what they've been trying to do. Unfortunately, they're trying to like push it to have this happen. Stop canceling things, and maybe you'll have another, you know, franchise on your hand. But the Sandman is going to be like a sleeper hit. I think people are going to be afraid to dive into a Gaiman project because it's just so heavy-handed, as I said. But once you get into it, you really sit with it. I think that it does work. I also think that this season in particular would have benefited from weekly releases. I think that the episodes are just jam-packed with so much information and new characters that the binge model doesn't quite work for it. It's really hard to grasp certain things. There are different storylines that I was absolutely fascinated with. I thought David Thewlis did a fantastic job in the show. There's literally one episode that's just dedicated to him, and I think that he did a great job. He was a standout. Tom Sturridge was great. The creatures and the characters in the dream world where Dream resides, I thought were really great. They were really cute, and the designs were really different. And I think it worked for what it was as well. I do have to give a shout out to Kirby Howell-Baptiste, who plays Death. That one episode was really hard to watch. But again, you're digging into these human values. There's so much meat to kind of explore in this case. And it was just really fascinating. I wanted more from it. Like, it's so hard to explain because there's so many characters and you want just more with certain characters, but obviously like the season has to play out in a different way. But these actors really did a great job with what they had, and I would love to see more of them. There's some storylines that didn't work, some that did, but all in all, the Sandman's an interesting watch. I do think that people are going to have trouble binge watching this, but give it a shot on Netflix. I think for people who love fantasy, they're going to be intrigued with all of this regardless. I know I'm really fascinated with the dream world and how that kind of works out, and fate and honesty and all of that. Everything that you can think of is twisted into this, and there's so many layers. So yeah, give it a go on Netflix. Right now I'm sitting at like a 3.5 out of 5 on the show, on season 1 as a whole, but I think that this series will grow on people. At least I'm hoping, because there's just so much that they can do with this. And again, visuals, top tier Netflix. My God, what did you do with this? Because it was just beautiful, beautiful to watch. If you guys are fans of Neil Gaiman, let me know what you've read. And if you're interested in The Sandman, I know there was an audiobook as well, with a great cast of actors on top of that. And if you have watched The Sandman, if you're going to watch The Sandman, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So if you guys enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMX ND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.